Ladies, are you ready for some more good conversation? Well, we've got another episode for you on The Nightcap, featuring yours truly, Shauntae C. and Tanya Jefferson, aka T. Tanya J. Tune in at The Nightcap, where late night ladies talk.
And hello, everybody. All of you League of listeners out there, we are so excited that you have joined myself, Shauntae C. and P. Tanya J. here tonight on The Nightcap. Yes. League of listeners, please come on in, come on in. We hope that you have your mugs. We hope that you have your cups, something to sip on, because we have lots to sip about on tonight as we are talking about embracing the total woman. So come on in. Yes, come on in, League. We want to hear from you. And as always, if you have a comment, if you have something that you want to say, please ask for permission on StreamYard so that we can get in your comments. Let us know that you're listening. Let us know that the nightcap is on and you got something to sip about, as we're going to share some great sipping points with you on tonight as we are talking about embracing the total woman. And this episode on tonight is in honor and looking and raising awareness to the book by Michelle Obama herself, Becoming. Yes. Michelle Obama, Becoming. So on tonight, if you have this book, if you've read this, we want you to shout out and say me. Just shout out and say me on tonight if you have read this Michelle Obama book, Becoming, because we want to share some powerful points. As you all know, that the documentary is coming up on this book. So we want to hear from you, ladies. We want you to share in this conversation on tonight about embracing the total woman. And Tanya is going to take it away because we've got some awesome sipping points on tonight. So again, join in. Let us know you're here at the nightcap. Angela Nicole, thank you. Thank you, Ladypreneur. Welcome to the nightcap. Thank you. And hello to you. And we just want you to chime in when you can. Yes. Head of Bougie Bling. She's head of Bougie Bling. Thank you for tuning in. So we are excited. So take us away, Tanya, with this topic.
Well, hello, everyone. Seems like I'm getting a little feedback over here.
And I want to say, go ahead.
No, I just want to say that I am excited for the nightcap tonight, because let me tell you guys, I hope you got your cup and ready to sip, because we're going to have a conversation that is going to stir up probably another conversation. And so this is an opportunity for us to be transparent about our experience with leading. Have we even had the opportunity to lead as a woman? And you know, when we're leading, how we said it, how are we showing up? So we have definitely a lot of points to cover tonight, and we also have a guest that's going to be coming on shortly. But we want you guys to chime in on this conversation and share your truths about, can women lead? Because let's be honest, we're living in a time right now, and in the 21st century, in 2020, we just got to be honest. Women are doing the daggone thing, right? We are leading, and we are leading from the front. We are truly picking up the pieces and doing what we need to do, regardless if a man is not doing it. We are not basing our leadership skills off of, or our opportunity to lead, because a man is not doing it. And so this podcast is not to bash men. What it is to bring awareness to the women out there who are bona fide leaders. Okay, in whichever arena you're leading in, whether you're leading in the marketplace, whether you're leading in your business, whether you're leading in your home, whether you're leading in your ministry, you know, wherever you are a leader in, we want to bring awareness to women leaders, because we truly believe that this is the time for women to stand up and speak their truths, of course, from a place of healing and wholeness, which is my book, right? So this is gonna be a good conversation, Shauntae, and I'm excited. I'm excited, and I want to get the things so I can look at these points, but I don't want no interference with this.
Absolutely. And we again want to say, ladies, thank you for joining the League of Listeners on tonight. Ozzy, she says, good evening. Thank you for shouting us out. Thank you, Wanika Anderson, for tuning in with us, joining the League of Listeners here on the Nightcap with yours truly, Shauntae C and P. Tanya J. Ladies, we thank you for tuning in, and we've got lots to sip about. So get your mugs ready, because we are talking about embracing the total woman, embracing the total woman. And we want you to chime in, give us your feedback, give us your comments, because we have just some powerful points. Yes, Anita Smith, thank you for tuning in. Yes, thank you all for the love on tonight. And we're again just digging in this conversation. Again, we are giving a shout out, and this is in honor, and we are raising awareness to Michelle Obama's becoming. We're coming from this topic of becoming. And ladies, if you have read this book and you have just some awesome takeaways, just shout out me and just give a little blurb or two on just what you took away from this when it talks about becoming. What is it becoming? Because Michelle Obama, and again, it's talking about embracing the total woman. I had said earlier that Michelle, her character spoke for her, that even before she became the first lady of the United States or the president's wife, she was already walking in her authentic truth. Her character, her personality, she had that resilience, she had that boldness. So it just followed her throughout her years, in her development, in her growth. She was true to who she was, that regardless of the titles or the positions that came her way, she was just who she was, and she was resilient in it. And I love how she shared that even in the face of adversity with people, how the comments and just some of the oppositions that she faced, she still had to be that woman of worth. She still had to walk in integrity. She still had to put on a smile, even when she knew that people were talking behind her back, even when they knew, look at this black woman, look at her, who she thinks she is. She still showed up resilient. She still showed up resilient. So that just brings us to the awareness where we are. And I want to raise some points, just to highlight some of Michelle Obama's points as we're talking about this topic. One is this one. She says, I don't want young women out there to have the expectation that if they're not having it all, that somehow they're failing. This is a strong sipping point right here, which brings us to our first point. And Tanya, take this away, and you can comment on this and go with it how you want to, what you have. All right.
Well, based on that comment and her saying like she don't want young people to feel as if they don't have it all, that they're failing. So basically what she's saying is there is an expectation that's put, that young people have embraced, to say if I'm not succeeding at my full potential, or if I'm not doing what I need to do, or full scope, then I am not being the woman God has called me to be. And so I think that I think this quote is very powerful, because it lets us know that the condition that a lot of our young people are in, our teenagers, our young adults, they're in a position where they feel forced to have it all together. They feel forced to say, I got to have the perfect job. I have to go to school. I have to be married. I have to have the White House with the picket fence. There's an expectation that these young people feel like they have. There's a big shoe that these young people are trying to feel that they haven't even grown into, right? And so the reality is they're looking at what everybody else has, or other successful women. And while those women are great mentors, what they have to understand is that every struggle or every success had a struggle, right? And sometimes we focus more on the success and we ignore the struggle. And when we ignore the struggle, we automatically think that these women got to their successful place by just showing up. And so even though they're watching these women show up in their best outfits, even though they watch Michelle Obama, sis, show up with the nice clothes. Michelle said, and even in her video, that she had people to pick those clothes up for her because that's not how she normally would dress. But she had to dress a certain way because that was they were expecting her to look like a White House woman, right? She had to look a certain way because she was in the camera. And I know as I watched the clip and read the story, she could not wait to get from that White House so she can go start not going back to living her normal life, but she wanted to live, she wanted to find out what was next for her. And obviously it wasn't, I got to look my best every day because I'm on camera. And a lot of young people, they are thinking that they have to look a certain way. Now, yes, you should, want to make. You should want to look nice. You should want to be decent. You shouldn't be out at the store, which we've all did this. I believe I did it today. I was looking a little crazy earlier today, right? But the core of our hearts and the core of our being should say, I'm going to look my best. But what I understand is that sometimes my best might not be good enough for them, but my best is good enough for me. So we have to define what is our best, right? And our best cannot be defined by other people's expectations of me showing up with a grand smile on my face, with my perfect clothes, with my makeup beat down to the streets. Okay, it may not be me showing up with my associates, my bachelor's, my master's, or my doctorate. I might just show up with a strategy. I might just show up with a business that ain't never been to school. I don't believe TD Jakes been to school. There's some people that have never. Michelle Obama went to law school, and when she finally came to herself, she said, "This is not it. There is another path for me." And and her even going to law school, she talked about how that's something that it's been in her for a while. We don't know if her parents encouraged her, if whatever it is for her speaking her truth, but we have to be okay with our truths changing.
That's good. Say that again.
We have listen to me, ladies, as we come into this place of being a leader, or as you would say, sis, being a leading lady. We have to be okay.
That's my shirt, y'all.
That's
Oh,
her
yeah.
stuff, y'all. Y'all better shout her out on here. We have to be okay as leading ladies. We have to be okay as a leading woman of God with our truths changing. Because our truths changed by experience, our truths changed by expectations, right? And
Right.
so we have to be okay with daily. Our truth is going to change because we're always experiencing something. Does it mean your previous truth is non-existent? No, it means you have grown. It means you have come into another awareness, another consciousness of awareness that there's another part of me that I'm tapping into. And this ain't got nothing to do with the folks on the outside. It has everything to do with what's lying inside of me. It has this new place that I am arriving to as a leading lady has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with my mama. It has nothing to do with my daddy, but it has everything to do with the spirit that's in me. It has everything to do with my spirit being. It has nothing to do with me being a wife. It has nothing to do with me being the boss in my company, but it has everything to do with the spirit of God that is in me, because before I was anything else, I was a spirit. And we have to be okay with leading from a different truth.
Yes. You're getting some love here from the league. And again, for those of you who have just tuned in, this is the Nightcap with Shauntae C and P. Tanya J. And we are talking about embracing the total woman, inspired by the book and the upcoming documentary, Becoming, with Michelle Obama. And Tanya, you are getting some love. Shout out to Javon Jackson. Hey, Queen. Thank you for tuning in. Adrian says, exactly. Feel like if I don't have a husband and children at my age, then I'm failing. I'm failing. I think that's, yeah. I'm failing, but that's not so. Absolutely, Adrian. Just because you don't have the husband or the children or wherever you find your status to be, you can't get caught up in the stereotypes, because look at Michelle with Becoming. If she fell into the stereotypes, she didn't let that define her. And that's important, regardless of the social statuses, regardless of what's going on and how society tries to label us, because even as Black women, sometimes we are labeled We are labeled because of our body imaging, or perhaps our identity and our characters. Regardless of that, you still have to be authentic in who you are. You have to show up in the resilience and in the authority that you possess, regardless. But you can't let society or organizations or any such thing define who you are. Let me say this, lean in on this, and you're going to take a sip. You're going to take a sip. Regardless of where you may find yourself or the circles of the people, you have to stand out and show out in you. Because when you're authentically who you are, you will succeed. You will stand out. You want to know how to stand out in the midst of a saturated market, regardless in business or ministry, or wherever you find yourself? It's being who you are. Because when you're who you are, you can thrive, because nobody can do it like you can. Nobody can do it like you can. So the law of attraction to that is that you have to walk in the authority that you possess. That speaks to confidence,
Amen.
your worth, knowing your worth. And when you know your worth, you work your worth. And that's the hook of my brand. That's the tagline. Work your worth. Work your worth. And so I believe, Tanya, that if a lot of us as women, if we truly walk in our fullness and our capacity, because I don't even want to say potential, but if you walk truly in your worth, truly in your gifting and your talents, truly in who you are, I believe we would thrive even more. Because as women, come on, y'all know we are bossing it, as they say. We are bossing it in society right now. We cover so much of a percentage or majority of influence in this world, from jobs to being top influencers. I was listening yesterday to a fellow coach, and she was saying that the statistic was about 40% of businesses in this world or in society now are female owned. We own it. We own it. And so just think about it. If more of us walked in truth and authenticity and the authenticity of who we are, you think we taking over the world now, we will really have a true takeover. So thank you, Adrian, for that. Yes. And Javon, she says they looking at social media where half the things they see is fake. Yes, Trump got this big thing about fake news. Fake news.
Fake news, fake people.
Yes, it is truly fake. It is truly fake, Javon, what's going on. Juanica said, yes, I need this. Glad it is touching your heart. Glad it's touching your heart. Angela Cole said, yes, yes. And I'm a sip, sis. I'm a sip, Angel. I'm a sip. Yes, truly, yes. Round of applause. And yes, thank you, Val. She's gonna be joining us in a moment. I think I just spilled the tea on who
it's
was
not
it's not. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Val. I'm sorry.
Is she on?
Yeah, she is on. Yes, she is on. Adrian said, say that. And I just want to get all of you league listeners. Thank you. Thank you. Work your worth. Yes, that is my tagline. Work your worth. I help you to work your worth and help build each other up. Yes, Adrian. That's what it's all about. Yes. I'm so glad you said that, Adrian, because that brings us to another superpower. She said, yes. This brings us to another one. As women and young girls, we have to invest that time in getting to understand who we are and liking who we are.
This is good.
Michelle, getting to understand who we are and liking who we are. We cannot be imposter. We can't have what is called the imposter syndrome. It's like you really don't want to do it, but because perhaps you work a job, or because this is what people expect you to be or expect for how you're supposed to show up, or because people have these expectations of you, you have to be that person. That's what it's called, the imposter syndrome. But I'm gonna shut up because I can say so much. But Tanya, take us in, take us in.
Well, here we go again, sis. We're going to talk about coming into that awareness, right? And I know our next point is um, understanding your superpowers. And
Yeah.
just like I said before, your truths change. Not only does your truth change daily, but your awareness. No one is aware 100% of the time. Why? Because there's so many avenues there's so many arenas that we have to deal with on a consistent basis. And in those arenas, life is changing. So you may be aware in one area today, but then tomorrow you may be aware in another area, but no one is aware of themselves 100% of the time. So what does that mean? In order for us to tap into that superpower, we have to not just be aware, but we have to understand that some things, our awareness grows daily, because what you was aware of when you were a teenager, you're not going to be aware of when you're an adult. And I actually heard some of this on Dana Chanel's page. She is part of Jumpin' Jack Tax, and they do a lot of teaching. So shout out to her. I doubt she may see this. I don't know. She's on another platform. But the reality is this: who you are today, you may not be tomorrow, and you have to be okay with that adjustment. You have to be okay that as a woman with no kids, the moment you have a child, your awareness is going to change. The things that you was aware of when you didn't have a child, you're going to become aware of when you have a child. So your superpower is knowing. It's not just being aware, but knowing when your awareness changes based on the situation that you're in. Your superpower is being okay with changing. If we're going to leading ladies, women leaders, we have to be okay with changing and be aware enough to recognize the change. Be okay. Can you put that quote back up by Michelle says? Because I want to explain this quote.
Yes, yes. Keep talking and it'll come up momentarily.
Okay. So yeah, so we have to be okay with our awareness changing based on our situation. And it says a woman and a young girls. As women and young girls, we have to invest that time and get it to understand who we are and liking who we are. Here it is. You gotta like the change that's about to happen to you. You have to understand who you are today and who you are becoming, because that's what her book is about, becoming. And though many of us, we don't, a lot of people, they don't even like themselves today. So just imagine what they're going to be on tomorrow. In order for you to embrace what's going to happen on tomorrow, how you're going to evolve, you have to be okay with who you are today. You can't be complaining, I ain't got my degree, I ain't got this. You're basically telling God that the process that you have me in right now is not important. The process that you have me in right now is serving no justice in where you're taking me, when reality it's serving you justice. It's serving you exactly what you need. And so when tomorrow comes and you have to take on that day, you'll be more appreciative of it because you've mastered the hard work. As women, we have to be okay mastering the hard work, mastering the struggle, and saying this struggle is causing me to evolve into a better version of myself. This struggle, or not, and here it is. Not everything in your life has to be a struggle. Do you know your why doesn't always have to be a struggle? Sometimes your why can just be, God has blessed me with a life that's been working. But my why is this: I'm not prideful about it, and I'm okay with God showing me another life. I'm okay with God inviting another thing into my life so that I can even be better. Because sometimes, sis, let's be honest, everybody wants that why, and they want that why to be a struggle. But why do we have to always tell the story of a struggle? Can we just thrive off the story of success? Does everybody have to, use a struggle that may not even be a struggle? It could just be you going through a process. It could just be God processing you, and it's not a struggle. Could it be that you're in a place of success even when it's not a struggle? There's nothing wrong with saying I have a successful life. You
Right.
don't have to use a struggle just to win points from people. A lot of people, when they're doing their business, they tell you what's your why, but people don't tell you that your why doesn't always have to be a struggle. Let me say this: when I finished as my book evolved, my why is not always going to be how hard I came up. It's not going to always be that I came up on food stamps. It's not going to always be that I came up. Did I come up on welfare? No, I was never on welfare, but my mama probably was. So I guess I was a part of the welfare system, right? So, but once I evolve, why does my why have to be a part? Why does my why have to be a struggle? Can it be that my why is I had a successful podcast and I want to share with you how other women have been a part of this podcast with me and my sister and their lives have changed? Why can't our awareness be a reflection of success and not a struggle? I'm not saying you don't have one, because a lot of people do, but evolving says this: one time I had a struggle, but this time I got success. And I got to be able to share my success just as much as I share my struggle. We got to be able to embrace both sides of the fence. Embrace this side this year and this next year. Show people how God has blessed you and prospered you as a leading lady, because you're leading for a reason. If it was that bad off, you would be in the back.
That's
like
right.
A lot of people leading in the back in the dark.
Right.
Covers over your head saying, I want somebody to see me, but you're not creating the opportunity to be seen. You
right.
have covers over your eyes.
Right. Right.
So we, as leading ladies, we have to embrace our superpower. What is that superpower? That superpower is the awareness that even who we are today is going to change on tomorrow. Who we are today is you're not going to be the same person when this podcast ends. If you're the same person when this podcast ends, then we have not done our job. Right. Shauntae and I have not did our due diligence in ministering to you on this platform, because you should not be the same person that you were last week, because our messages are changing.
That's right.
And if we're constantly saying the same thing over and over, then God is saying either we're not doing it or you're not listening. So part of being embracing your superpowers is being a good listener. Listen to a woman who's been down your path. Listen to a woman who has tapped into her superpowers. Listen to the woman who's leading with her cape on. That's right. Sis. We're leading with the cape on. Right. And we ain't taking the cape off for nobody.
Right, right.
Not even for the inner me. I'm going to keep my cape on. Even if I'm bleeding while I'm doing it, I'm going to keep it on, because my sister got my back until I heal properly.
Absolutely. And again, thank you all for tuning in. For those of you who are tuning in to us, this is the Nightcap with yours truly, Shauntae C and P. Tanya J. And again, we are talking about embracing the total woman. And this is good. And we are on our sipping point right now, dealing with what is your superpower. Again, power. What is your superpower? Are you walking in your truth? Are you walking in authenticity? Are you being authentically you when you show up? Because that is the person that can own and take ownership of who they are. Nobody else can take that ownership for you. You have to be you and walk in your authentic truth. What is she? Who is she? Ask yourself, who am I? And what is it that I do? What makes me uniquely different? What makes me stand out? What is it that I bring to help the world? Because it's not about you, but it's about helping others. It's about being that living truth and example, especially for those of us who are professing salvation and professing to be ambassadors for God, ambassadors for Christ. That is what we have to define for us. What is your why? And as Tanya said, it doesn't always have to be personally or a struggle story, even though we know the art of storytelling, but still in that, what is it that defines you? That is what people connect and attract to. What is your why? And when you can define your why, because nobody can define your why like you, but if you can define your why, then you will see success and you will see the results happen. Which brings us to our final PowerPoint, and we're going to segue into our guest on tonight, right, Tanya?
Right. Is she on?
Yes. This PowerPoint, we're going to bring her in and you're going to introduce her, Tanya. It says, when you've worked hard and done well and walked through that doorway of opportunity, you do not slam it shut behind you. Now I'm gonna let that sit right there. We're gonna let that league of listeners, we want that to sit right there, and we want you to take that in. Sip real hard. Take a little slow sip as Tanya introduces our guest who will share some brief points and just kind of bring it on in with what we have left in our time.
So on tonight we have Prophet Valerie Trust, one of my dear covenant sisters, and she is going to come in and share some of her insight on this topic that we're speaking of. And so we just want to go ahead and welcome Val. She should be coming on. And you guys, as she's coming on, don't forget to leave your comments. Let us know your thoughts and ideas. Share your experiences so that we can recognize it. Hey, Val!
Hello, ladies. How are you tonight?
Fine, how are you?
Oh, I am listening and I am so encouraged by your topic.
I just knew. I'm so glad that you are coming on tonight. And I know you've been listening to some of the things that we've shared. And so I wanted you to come on because I know that you have experienced some issues in this area. And not just issues, but there are some great things that you're experiencing now as a leading lady and as a woman leader. So I just want you to share, your wisdom, and let's chat about this thing.
Yes, well, praise God. I am very excited tonight because I am a woman who was just in a place of barrenness. And when I met the Lord Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, He began to bring me up and out. So that has been my why because He was the one who brought me into this new life, this new mindset, this new way of living. And I'm telling you, every time I think about the goodness of God and how He has brought me out, I am encouraged to even not just know my why, but how am I going to do this thing? How am I going to accomplish such a great task because it is a great task that God will put in your face and say, now walk through it. He'll show you the beginning, at the beginning, he'll show you the end of your life. And then you have to plow your way through and pray your way through. So I have really just really enjoyed, this journey by myself. I've been married once and it didn't work. And I said, you know what? I don't need a man. So first of all, when Michelle Obama began to talk about how she um, knew who she was and when she went to law school, and then she said, no, that ain't it. See, that's where I was with that man. I said, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. Because we do not need a man to complete us. We are complete in Him and we are accepted in Him. And so my superpower or superpower her is that I picked myself up. Yes, there were some nights that I cried, but I began to see myself differently. I
Mm.
began to see the new nature that I had. And it was a costly nature, and I knew I had to get into what God had put before me. So I am really glad to just, be here with you all. My super her has been all of my experiences
Mm.
in
Awesome.
finding who I am, in finding who I am. And even though I am on a path of destiny and purpose, I am not done yet. For
Good,
all the
good.
hell I went through, and I'm just saying this because no, your why doesn't have to be because you came out of poverty, but I just happened to come out of poverty. And all the hell that I went through as a young girl, I am not going to stop until I fulfill the purpose that God has given me.
My God, you said so much in that conversation. I'm gonna try. I didn't want to distract back trying to get a pen, but let me tell you, your conversation basically covered just about every scope we did. Every podcast you talked about. You don't need a man. You ain't man bashing, but you're saying you know how to operate as an individual woman. You said that, and then you said something, of course, with Michelle Obama saying that this is not it. That again, that talked about that awareness. You became aware that who you are, the situation that you was in was not it. There is another part of Valerie trust that God
Ooh,
wanted
come
to
on.
unlock in you. And
Yes,
you have to come into another part of awareness of yourself. And
yes,
listen, just like what we said, when you close, just like that, the quote, when you close the door, don't slam that door. When you can close that door with ease, that's saying I'm comfortable in walking through, and I'm comfortable where I'm going, and I'm not bitter about what I left, because I know if I slam it, there may be some connections or whatever that may have to come back into my life at a later point. But when I walk through this door, I'm not going to slam the door shut, because the one thing I understand when it comes to Black women, when we get our opportunity, we already got this label that we mad, bitter, and angry. And so when we finally get something, we slam the door on the folks who we think did us wrong. But no, when we move forward, and we move forward from a healed place, and you can only be healed when you become aware that you're broken, and then you give it to God to heal you and move you forward. So Prophet Val, your testimony is strong, and but not only that, you are a seasoned leader, right? And you
yes,
are someone who has been through some stuff. That lets us know that you're never too old to lead, because there are some women that are your age, and they're looking like, well, God ain't got nothing else for me. I'm done. Well, God, I got less years in front of me than I had behind me. But you are letting women know that on tonight, that just because of your age or just because of your experience, it's never too late to lead from
truly.
your purpose
Mm,
Yeah.
and destiny.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. And I like also, Prophet Valerie, you said it was two things that even at your age or where you are in your milestone, it's never too late to grow. And I think Tanya talked about how we're always evolving. You should always be in a place of growth and development, that you don't close off educating yourself or learning or coming into a newfound awareness of who you are at each milestone of your life. So I really salute you for that, in saying that. And perhaps there are some women that are listening. You may be in the 50s, 60s, wherever you find yourself in your latter years, but it's never too late for you. There's always an opportunity to come into a newness of life. I
yes,
always admire Bishop T.D. Jakes. You know, in his 30s, you saw how he was. In his 40s, you saw how he was. But even as he matriculated in his 50s, 60s, and even probably, I think he's might be in his 70s or pushing there, he's always getting wiser in his craft as a preacher, as a speaker. And
yes,
he's building that resume all through the years now. He just gets more, just sharper in his skill set, that he
yes,
hasn't stopped. He has not stopped.
that's
He's
right.
just becoming more wiser in his execution and his delivery of what he does. So for women out here, League of Listeners, it's not too late for you. You
Amen.
are you are you are worth it. You are worth it.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
are worth it. And I also, Prophet Val, too, I like another point that you said too, just about us, just it doesn't always have to be a sad story, a suffering story, but I just admire how you just use those just experiences that you had just to leverage where you are now,
Come
and just
on.
how it is just so great for you. It is just so great for you, and it's such an example. And we can't shut the door, ladies, because even with and I'm gonna bring it back up, what she talked about with the door. It's another quote that she has, that she never wanted to build her greatness or what she has accomplished. She wanted to leave a legacy, and that making sure that there were other women who were following behind her. So it's not a matter of, oh, I arrived, thank you, and you shut the door, but you want to leave it open, the door of opportunity, or the window of opportunity for others to follow behind you, because it's just not about you, but you're building a legacy, you're building an inheritance. You want to be able to pass that mantle to somebody else, that when you come off the scene, who's coming to drive it further? If you're a businesswoman, or if you're in ministry, where is your inheritance? Where's your legacy? Or if we want to get in, if we want to get spiritual with it, where's Elisha? We are the Elijahs, but where's the Elisha who said, you know what? I was so impacted about the example that Prophet Valerie has set forth that I want to carry the work. Who is going to carry the work? So you got to leave the door of opportunity open, knowing that it's not just about you, but are you building a legacy? Are you building an empire big enough that others can grow it?
Yeah.
That your name, even when you've gone off the scene, that it will grow greater, that people will begin to speak well of you on a greater impact. So ladies, don't shut the door. Don't be a crab in the barrel, or that one that just arrived and then is no more. But you want to leave it open. Okay, I'm sitting there.
No, that's good, sis, because bitter people slam the door shut because they got something to prove. And that's the thing. We got to get out of that place feeling like everything that we're doing, we're not doing it to prove people wrong. We're not doing it to show people that. But this, you was wrong about what you said about me. You was wrong for not, you know what, you wouldn't let me preach on your pulpit because I was a woman, so I'm a preacher here. We got to make sure that our motives are pure in what we're doing. And one thing I love about Michelle Obama and her story is that her leaving the door open was writing that book and doing this documentary, because she could have said, I made it here, and I'm gonna sit on this throne, and I'm gonna sit and watch y'all struggle to get here, right? Yeah. But no, she opened the door and said, listen, this is what really being a lady is about. A lady, being a woman is not it has nothing to do with me being in the White House. This was just an afforded opportunity because this was part of my destiny. But now that I'm here, I'm going to open the door and show you how I came to be this successful person, how destiny groomed me for this month, this moment. Because some people want that moment. They want to shine. They want to be on the platform. They want to be this grand spanking person, but they haven't been groomed. Who's grooming you in this season? Who's where are the Samuels that's being groomed in this season? Did somebody lay you out? Who put you in that place on the altar? Who placed you and said, I'm gonna leave you there until the Lord calls you until your purpose place? Where are the people who are laying the Samuels down and saying, God, this is my child that needs to be groomed for this season. This is my child that has a plan and a destiny, and I can't do it. So I'm going to lay you at the feet of somebody who can groom you properly. Where are the Samuels that's laid and being taught and trained and say, I hear something, but I don't know whose voice it is? And where are the people? Where are the Eli's that's saying, no, go back and wait till that voice speak again and then ask, sir, is this God? What do you want me to do? Where are the Eli's and where are the Samuels?
Yeah.
Where are the Rebeccas?
Yeah. I believe we have a charge.
Rebecca, what was her name?
Whose name? Whose name?
What was Samuel's mom name?
Samuel's mother name?
Yeah, I want to say Rebecca.
Come on, Bible scholars, if you out there. I'm drawing a blank right now.
With an M, but I believe we have a charge as women to be able to let the sons and daughters grow. For too long, the church and many leaders have dropped us, and we have been on the floor waiting for someone to pick us up and to show us the way we should go. And so in this season, the charge that we have as women that are seasoned, young women who are able to move into their destiny and purpose sooner than others, we have a charge to promote them, to bring them up, to carry them, to raise them so that they will not be stuck in a place where, they are saying some of the things that we said when we were young. There's nobody here, nobody to pick me up, nobody to carry me, nobody to teach me or show me, the ways of a woman. Because all of that comes to experience, but it's also nice to have someone to be there that can tell you, now look, girl, that's the wrong thing to do. Move out of that relationship and move over here.
Right.
That's right.
Right. And thank you, ladies. We did eventually say Hannah. We got brain fried
Hannah?
for a minute.
Okay.
Prophet, you getting some love out here too. Anita Smith says, "Hey, Prophet Valerie Tressel, you getting some love out there?"
Hey, Anita. Prophet.
But I think this is a great topic because there's so much potential in the women. There's so much potential. And God is like, I want you to move past the place of potential and just walk in your purpose. You were purpose to lead. God gave us dominion, right? And we have to stop asking permission to lead. Why are you asking for something God gave you? I'm not asking anybody to do something. If God gave it to me, I'm seeking God and I get my clearance from God, but we're trying to get our clearance from other people. Your clearance to lead came from God when he breathed in you. As a matter of fact, let me just say this. It wasn't even before he breathed. Because you were a spirit being, before you was a physical being, your clearance to lead started in the heavenly place, not the earthly place.
That's right.
The reason why it's happening here because we need a physical body to carry out some of the tasks that we're doing. But too many of us, we got it backwards. We have to throw out all that inaccurate teaching about what Paul said. And because the reality is Paul said it because he had a motive behind it. And he said it because he was trying to keep the people in line because he was a teacher. And he was trying to keep the church in line because they were chaotic and he wanted, right. He was trying to create order until he was able to get there. So he wrote that letter letting them know. So people, we have to stop taking these scriptures or listening to these scriptures people are giving us and study the word of God for ourselves. You are a bona fide leader in spirit. You don't need permission. Now, what I will say is this: as you embrace the leadership in you, it is good to seek wise counsel, but you're not seeking permission. You're seeking wise counsel. And when is the good time? You're sharing in the person that is leading you, just like Eli did Samuel when he kept hearing that voice. He's going to give you instructions, or that person is going to give you instructions on what to do. So, as a woman leader, we have to stop taking clearance from people that God has already given us. You are a leader. Now, yes, you may need some advice. Yes, you may need some mentoring. I'm not negating that. We all need that because that's what we said. Yeah. But the initial first thing is you do not need to wait until somebody approves you to lead. You don't need to wait until somebody affirms you to lead. God already preordained you to do what you have been called to do. We have to accept it. We have to embrace the total woman that we are. We are total women. And we have to embrace that spiritual aspect of that. So we don't have to keep creating excuses, Shauntae and Prophet Val. It's too many women creating excuses. Well, my boyfriend ain't got a car. Well, my husband and my children got to get out of college first. It's so many excuses that we use. We give excuses in the name of I just want to take care of my responsibility. No, your responsibility is to take care of you first.
Oh, come on.
That's our responsibility, is to embrace, because our children are watching us operate from a broken place. Our children, our legacy is watching us lead as a disaster. Our children are watching us lead ourselves into a disaster. And what our children are saying to us, and what they're probably showing is, Mom, I need you to embrace the woman that God has created you to be, because that depends on me, because I am watching you. And I can't do no better if I don't know any better. When you know better, you do better.
That's
But
right.
if your children, if that's all they know is your poor leadership skills, then what you think they're going to exhibit? The same thing. They're going to do the same thing when it comes to relationships. They're going to look for broken men. They're going to look for jobs who underestimate them. They're going to look for jobs who always keep them in the back. They're going to be apprehensive. They're going to be timid. They're going to be everything else but a child of God,
Mm-hmm.
because we fail to set the example as a leading lady and as a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
amen.
Hmm. Ladies, this is getting good. And again, for those of you who have just perhaps tuned in or caught a couple of minutes of this stream here. This is Shauntae C and P. Tanya J with the Nightcap, and we are so glad to have guest Prophet Valerie T, who is joining us on tonight. And we have been talking about embracing the total woman, and our sipping points for tonight were: how do you show up? What is your superpower? Her, and you have to stop asking for permission. Yes, stop asking for permission. And we appreciate you, Lee, for just chiming in on your comments. Yes, Adrian, she said you got to break that cycle. Yes, you do. You have to break that cycle. And we just thank you all for your comments on tonight. And just to close this in, as we're coming to the end of our podcast, Prophet Valerie T, can you please just give us some summation to what we've talked about tonight? So, for the ladies who are listening on tonight, on the line tonight, Prophet Val, tell them, how can we embrace being the total woman? How do we embrace being the total woman? Share your nuggets and sipping points with us.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, that's a mouthful. But I tell you, first you have to become comfortable in your own skin. You have to find it in yourself and say to yourself, I am more than what I have been through. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And even when I was created in my mother's womb, all of the things that God spoke over me, I am going to be that. See, sometimes we think that we have to do or do what they're doing or act like what they're acting like or someone who is doing better than us. But I have got the revelation and found out that as you are on this journey, ladies, you should recognize that you are not a human uh, doing, you are a human being. And so rise up and be that original design that God has made you. And do not take no for an answer, but always remember that you are an original design. You are uniquely made. You are wonderfully crafted in the hands of God. And so allow Him to continue to mold you and humble yourself so that you can become all that He has called you to be. Yes, you are a super her. Yes, you are a one of a kind. Yes, you are an original, and there is no one that can do what you do. So
Mm.
do and be who God has called you to be on tonight, ladies.
And you know what? I'm going to sip to that. I'm going to sip.
Me too.
Ladies, league, that's it. Nothing else to be said on that point. You have heard on tonight, and take this with you for the rest of your week. Until next time, Tanya, you have anything to say before we do our infamous ending?
What do
I just
y'all
want to say I just want to say evolve.
do?
Allow yourself to evolve into the leader that God has ordained you to be. And sometimes evolving is going to cause you to face your truths, God's truths about
Mm.
you, and go through that place of healing and wholeness. And as I always say, you're welcome to purchase my book so that you can walk in your truths, embrace your total healing and wholeness so that you can lead from a healthy place. And we'll put the link at the bottom so that you can purchase your copy. But definitely evolve.
Yeah.
Evolve.
Well, ladies and league, till
I,
next time, we thank you for tuning in. Be engaged, be empowered. And as always, can we raise our cups? Take a sip.